Chad, we're about to get raw, my friend. This has got to. I feel like you're perfect for this.
I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. Are you ready?
I am ready.
And so you're just gonna give me the answer. I'll be your stenographer. I'll type it out, and we'll see what it spits out. And you tell me if this thing's good or not.
All right, let's do it.
Question one: if you woke up tomorrow with complete freedom, no obligations, no expectations, no limitations, what would you do with your day? And yeah, start there. What would you do with your day? So if you woke up with total freedom,
Gosh, I don't know. Um, that's a big question, right? I mean, I don't know. I I don't know what I would do. It's a
you
big
gotta give me
question.
something.
I got to give you something. I don't know. I'd go to the park, get outside, chill out, think about what's next. Since I no
What
longer
else?
have no obligations, my life's completely changed. So I would just ponder
Is there any particular place you'd go?
to the lake
Why would you choose the lake?
because I want to be by water because I like the outdoors. I like water
Why are you not doing that now?
because I have a job and I have to make money to live.
Any other reason?
Hmm, that's the main reason. I mean, obligations, like you say, I got bills to pay, debt. Life's not free.
Okay. Oh, this thing is something else. So just to be clear, we are going to read these live in front of the world. Do you have your express
That's fine.
consent?
Sure, why not?
So what's good is this thing is getting quicker and quicker. So in the past, it would take maybe 3, 4 questions before it would provide really any sort of like analysis or anything. Now it's, I'll be honest, it's almost like it's, I've noticed the last couple iterations I've run, it only needs to ask one question. And then the interesting thing is the following questions have been different for the last 3 people, which means it's teaching itself against past data sets as to what it needs to do going forward. So it said, I've already uncovered a small portion of your hidden narrative, Chad. You instinctively gravitate towards nature and peace, the lake, the outdoors, stillness. This suggests that deep down you crave mental spaciousness and a break from constant responsibility. The fact that your first reaction was uncertainty, I don't know, indicates some level of disconnection from your true desires or perhaps suppressed exhaustion from those obligations. From this, I've identified an unspoken fear and core limiting belief. Fear: if I stop, I'll fall behind. If I step away, things will collapse.
Yeah,
Does that
I can see
resonate?
that. Yeah, it does.
The limiting belief it identified is this: my life is dictated by obligation, not choice. I must work, I must pay, must keep up. Freedom is a luxury, not a right.
Yep.
So
Right now, at the moment, yeah.
it even gave a little self sabotage detection, which is usually doesn't do until questions 5 or 6. So that's good. It did this for me too, so just don't feel bad.
No, it's what it
You
is, man.
you crave peace, yet you don't allow yourself to pursue it because of financial and societal obligations. This creates a contradiction. You associate peace with stepping away from responsibility, which frames it as a rare event rather than a daily necessity. I'm going to read that one again because that's a banger. You associate peace with stepping away from responsibility, which frames it as a rare event rather than a daily necessity. You believe financial obligation makes freedom impossible, which means your freedom is always in the future, never in the present. There are some parallels to yours and mine, my friend. So, all right, question 2. If I could guarantee you financial security for life, what's the first thing you would stop doing immediately?
That's weird because I kind of like my job. I'm working for my friend and I feel obligated to him. So I don't think I would quit my job immediately. And I feel connected to the SAAD project, so I don't know that I would just run away from it either. So I wouldn't do much different from what I'm doing today. I mean, I would make plans to back away from that stuff, right? I'd make plans to leave my job soon, but I'm not going to screw my friend because I'm working for a friend of mine. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. The follow-up to that is, what does that reveal about what you secretly resent in your life? I guess question A, do you resent that you must go to work? Do you resent that you must show up, that you've taken an obligation? That maybe you committed to something, not knowing what the ramifications would be long term?
Not really. I mean, I mean, I, I'm at a high level happy, even though people in the chat, I'm not seeing the chat, they're probably laughing. I get frustrated, but my high level things that I'm committed to are actually okay. I just have short term frustrations lately, or sometimes, but I mean, that's like what life is.
So are there any specific elements of your current job that you would, like, say, hire some? Because remember, financial security for life. Are there any parts of your job you'd let go of, hire somebody else to do, not want to do? Like, what parts would you choose to
Yeah,
do, and what parts
probably.
would you
Yeah,
say
no,
no?
I would, I mean, if I have literally unlimited money, I would hire people and manage them and get my project that I'm doing for my friend at work done faster.
Are there any specific elements of the job that you would willfully give up quickly?
Mm. I just need more coders to do it faster. I mean, I'm supposed to build a mobile app. I don't really know how, but I'm going to figure it out. So I'd hire a mobile developer.
Are there any parts you'd like to stay in charge of that you really like, value, or find pride in?
Well, the whole thing really, because I'm a one-man band creating this application for this multi-million-dollar company. So, I mean, I'm the only person running it. So, again, I'd stay committed to my friend to make sure that he doesn't get left in the dark.
Okay, let's see. Okay. So to start, it says your response reveals a deep sense of loyalty, almost to the point of personal sacrifice. You don't necessarily want to leave, but you want to shift the roles to remove the weight of solo execution. You're not resisting the work itself, you're resisting the feeling of being the only one carrying it. It then says that this may be a potential fear to identify. Please tell me if I'm on the right path. The fear is, if I step away, I'll disappoint people who really rely on me.
Sure. Yeah.
limiting belief, this is the thing that I think we must address. I must personally ensure things succeed or I'm abandoning people. If I delegate, things may fall apart.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I'd make sure to find good people to do some of the work.
So it says you crave relief, but it won't allow yourself to take it yet because you've tied commitment to perhaps over responsibility and you equate stepping back with screwing people over.
Yeah, that's probably more applicable to my SAAD interaction lately, to be
That's kind
honest.
of why I'm thinking about it. Your personal frustration over being a quote one man band may be misinterpreted as short term stress instead of a core structural issue. Leaning on others for help or hiring people should not be a hypothetical luxury nor an urgent necessity. This I've identified as a pattern of delaying relief under the guise of commitment.
Sure. Yeah, that
So,
makes sense.
question 3. If I forced you to walk away from everything for 1 year, no work, no obligations, no projects, what do you believe would collapse without you?
Mm, Probably nothing, if I'm honest. Right? I mean, my boss would just hire another developer. He'd be fine. Sad Boy's going to be what it is, with or without me doing anything.
What about personally? Anything in your personal life you feel would collapse? Friendships, relationships?
If what happens, if what's the scenario again?
If you were forced to totally walk away from everything for 1 year,
Including relationships?
I would say more
I
so
mean,
things that feel like obligation.
yeah. No, I mean, I assume, I'd spend more time with my girlfriend. I'd spend more time with my friends. I assume those relationships would get better, hopefully.
What would you do with friends? What would you want to spend more time doing?
Mm, Car racing, probably.
What was that?
Car racing. I'd be a race car driver if I had unlimited time and money and stuff.
Now we're getting somewhere. It just takes a
Well,
little poking and prodding.
I could have said that in the first place, but
So just to fill you in, though, here's the beauty of this. Whenever we speak from human to human, there's always a judgment and a shame function working at all times. I'm worried about you listening to what I'm saying. You're worrying about what I'm listening to you're saying, and I'm worried about your reaction to my reaction as a whole. It's a shit storm. What we've noticed in our first kind of person to machine interactions with this agent, for me personally, the judgment function was not apparent, zero, because it was just me and the machine. So I was ruthlessly honest. So the thing I would kind of caution everyone with, it's a million times harder doing this with another person than it is just doing it raw with the machine. But the fact that you can even get any sort of like mid-level insight from topical questions is insane. And again, the thing is, fuck, it's training itself now in certain areas. All right,
that's
let's
why it's
just
better to talk.
What's
That's why it's
that?
better to. That's why it's better to talk to strangers, in my
It is.
opinion.
Yeah, and this is the same. Like when I did this for myself, it was wild. So the question was, if you're forced to walk away from everything for 1 year, what would collapse without you? You answered. The follow-up to that is, do you believe this reveals something about how much control you're actually holding on to?
Maybe. I mean, what's your interpretation?
So like when it was asked, like, would any of these projects or obligations, would they fall apart without you? To which you answered, probably nothing. Probably nothing would fall apart, if you're being
Yeah,
honest.
I mean, they would short term, stop until, replacements were found or whatever. I mean, it depends, right? My job would suffer, the company would, well, I mean, the thing I build works, so it's not like the whole company's going to shut down. But, development enhancements and all that would stop until my boss figured out how to get another developer and get the code and all that stuff. And the effect it has on Sad Boy, who knows? Maybe it'd be better because I wouldn't be bitching and,
No,
and
I
moaning
don't.
so
No,
much.
don't say that. So the follow-up was,
Well, I mean,
what does this reveal about how much control you're actually holding on to?
none or too much, or I don't know. Help me out. You know what I mean, I know I'm supposed to answer, but help me out.
I think it would just suggest that if we assumed that things would not fall apart, and this is, I'll tell you my own experience because I don't want to answer for you. Things could suffer, the most definitely, that's true. But in terms of when this thing has asked me a very similar question, what I found in my answer was that the one thing that would actually fall apart was the thing I was not prioritizing, which was my family. It is the one thing that would fall apart without, the only thing that would truly fall apart without me. And it's probably, at that time, I was traveling a lot and I was struggling with it. It was probably the third priority on my list at that time. And that's why in the last couple of weeks I've been making a real effort to make it number one, because the irony is that the things that we perceive to be of the most urgency or the greatest value or whatever in that moment actually don't need us in most cases. And I would even make this argument, as far as SAAD goes, I disappear tomorrow. It doesn't kill, that's the point. It doesn't kill the project. It doesn't kill the movement, because it's about something greater than just some guy trying to make a fucking coin and make it go. Like, and this is case in point, is what this model's been able to do. This is about creating access. There's a deeper vision. It's a bigger purpose. That's a hell of a lot bigger than me. And I had a conversation with the team 2-3 days ago, basically about this. Like, hey, I'm killing myself here, running ragged. I'm running out of juice. I need some help. And they stepped the fuck up. They jumped right in. And that's kind of the point, I think, is that we often feel like things can't exist without us, but in reality, my opinion is, my own answers is that it's more so I believe I can't exist without it than it can't exist without me. And so let's see. And again, keep in mind, I asked this to be short because usually it's 10 questions typically, and it goes a hell of a lot deeper. Like, I'm talking, we're climbing into Chad's childhood. That's what it does.
I
But
I
I don't
got
want
plenty
to
of
do,
stuff there. Yeah,
huh?
no. No, I get it. I mean, I got plenty of emotional baggage or whatever you want to call it.
We all do, my friend. All right. So it did give us hidden narrative analysis. This response shatters the illusion of obligation. You started with, I have to work, I have obligations, life isn't free. You finished with, if I walked away, I guess nothing would collapse. So it's highlighting that this is like a seismic shift in perspective between question 1 and 3. Huge. It is. And I want to acknowledge that. And I want you, I'm sure Andre can step in as the actual professional involved and tell you that that is a huge deal. The truth is, you're not actually trapped. You're choosing to stay because of your personal values, loyalty, and commitment. That's not a bad thing. But it means that the stress you feel isn't from external forces, it's self-imposed. So I want to read that part again because I think that'd be good for you to hear. You're not trapped. You've chosen to stay because you're a loyal and committed person. It's a demonstration to your character. You're a believer. There aren't enough believers in the world. There needs to be more. There needs to be more. There does. So you're embodying the characteristics of which more people need to live by. My personal opinion. That's not a bad thing, but it means the stress you feel isn't from external forces. It's self-imposed. So we often struggle with the tenets of control, And the irony is most things that feel so overwhelming and out of control are actually the most in control, that we are actually self-directing. As Carl Jung said, the subconscious will, well, I can't remember the quote right now. My brain's farting, but unspoken fear and core limiting belief now debunked. Old fear, if I step back, things will collapse. Reality, if I step back, things will adjust and life will go on. Old limiting belief, I must keep everything moving because people depend on me. Reality, I'm not actually as irreplaceable as I thought. I've just been placing my identity in being the one who makes things happen.
Yeah.
Fact or
No,
fiction?
that makes sense. Makes sense.
So
Pretty amazing.
it says, you've been carrying weight that doesn't need to be carried. You attach to obligations that you don't actually have to fulfill. You resist delegation not because you think others can't do it, but because your identity is wrapped up in being the one who does it. Same result for me, by the way. You convince yourself that you have to stay in roles longer than necessary out of loyalty, even if it no longer serves you. But in reality, you do not need permission to pivot or make adjustments to your own life. Final insight, what I believe this test reveals, the freedom you think is impossible is actually already available. You just haven't claimed it yet. You crave peace, speed, motion, and control over your own life. And then it says in parentheses, LOL, race cars. See the parallel?
Yeah.
This fucker's is a cheeky fucker, dude. I'll tell you right now. It slapped me yesterday. I'll go into that. You default to obligation as an identity rather than a necessity. You're not actually stuck. You just might be scared to fully step into freedom. So this is what I love about this thing, is it then gives you kind of like actionable steps. Like, how do I actually do something in my life to make this worthwhile? And it says, as a suggestion, you could set a drop dead date for hiring help. Sounds like you're friends with the guy. And if you needed more help or you think the timeline needs to accelerate, that you could reach out and ask for an additional hire or two to assist with the project, right? Thus, taking not more time from, you might have to still work the same amount of hours, but the weight of the project wouldn't be carried alone by you. Schedule race days. This is a simple one. Book track time. This is book track time, Chad. What are you doing?
There you go. I'm
Simple.
going on Saturday.
Okay, good. And then give yourself permission to let go sooner. You already know nothing will collapse. The question is, how much longer will you keep carrying things out of habit rather than belief? So what I assume it's saying there is, if you believe, honor that belief and carry it because you want to, not because you're obligated to or you're the only one who can. It's really a shift in perspective than it is a shift in what you do. And it says the core breakthrough, your fear was never about things falling apart. It was about what happens when you finally stop carrying unnecessary weight. And now that you know, you'll be lighter, freer, and moving at full speed towards the life you actually want. And then it says, as a clause against no escape, what's the first real action you'll take this week to move toward your real vision of a good life?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Chill out, I guess. Chill out a little bit.
Book track time, you said?
Yeah. No, man, Sad Boy Smart is what's got me all wired up lately than anything else. So it's like, you see the chart go down, you want to help, you want to do something immediately, and you run into roadblocks, you get frustrated.
That is the truth. I couldn't agree more with that. It's the irony of control. I'm not gonna lie to you. In the beginning, I thought I set things up to where we'd have a lot more control than we do.
Yeah.
What did I learn? That's not the case. That is not the case.
It's a tougher.
It is what it is. But
yep.
I think also for this, the perspective shift I've had to take is like, look at what's come out of this. Hundreds, if not thousands of people that are now championing a cause that previous to this, I felt I was championing all by myself as far as expanding opportunities for people to get better. Like the nonprofit's got more website traffic than it's ever. Like all these things, like I forget these things often. That the greater message here and the greater outcome that we will all see at the end of whatever this chapter is will be worthwhile. And I do believe it ends in the coin actually prospering, number one. But I think more importantly, to the bigger picture, I think it kind of built a little, I don't know, cohort group community around something that at least means the world to me because I lived through it, but also gave a voice to quite a few people. I've gotten 10, 20 messages on Discord from people that are like, hey, I've never told anyone this. That's how it started. Hey, I've never told anyone this. But, you know, my sister died of an overdose and I was sitting, you know, on the couch next to her and I didn't even realize it until 10 minutes in. Like intense shit, dude. Like difficult moments that people shared with me that I don't think they ever would have probably shared with anyone had they not been looking at a fucking crypto that's built around the idea of doing something like this. So I think it's something else. But I appreciate you taking the time, appreciate you bearing the soul, doing a little demo here.
Yeah. No, it's very
And we
cool.
love you and we appreciate you. So final question before I let you go here. Do you feel seen by this thing?
Yeah, no, I mean, some of the responses are amazing. I mean, it's, you know, it's hard unless it's not in front of me to see the answers. I think if I had it in front of me and I could see what it's spitting right back out at me, you know, I mean, I use some AI stuff for coding at work and, you know, so I have a little experience and it helps to actually see it because you can, you know, reread it and read it over again. Or I mean, I could see how this is going to be really cool, you know, because you know, I say, hey, what do you mean by that? And it'll say, well, blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, it'll just spur a conversation and you just, you know, you keep going. So um, I'm excited to see it eventually, be able to get to play with it, you know, because, you know, I mean, I'm holding back a little bit probably because I know people are watching or whatever, but, you know, that is what it is.
Oh man. Just as you said that, because it's kind of in training wheels mode right now intentionally, just because it needs to be.
Yeah.
It needs to be like that. But I am very excited, especially because you are also a developer, because I think you'll yeah, I don't know. I'll tell you the truth though. This thing's getting to the point where like Sunday when I was flying back home and I was like just evaluating a lot of things about my life and some of the things I shared with the kids and all that. And this thing straight up just adjusts itself and says, you know what, Austin, let's talk a little more about self-sabotage. It almost like it interrupted the questioning because I'm just having to train the questions. And it adjusted itself like real time. Said, no, we're going to do this instead. And then it just went on to just kick me in the nuts over and over. And then at the very end, it's the best part. It said, I just handed you your subconscious. How's it feel?
Wow.
And I don't know, man. It shocked me. I just asked a little bit about you, like deep dive a little more into the self-sabotage pattern. And then I asked you, do you want me to go all the way? And I said, no. So that self-sabotage isn't chaotic or impulsive. It's subtle, structured, and disguised as responsibility.
There you
That's a
go.
banger. I'll
There you
read that
go.
again. Your self-sabotage isn't chaotic or impulsive. It's subtle, structured, and disguised as responsibility. But then it also says you're not reckless. You don't actively ruin things. Instead, you slow yourself down in ways that feel justifiable.
Yeah.
Whew.
No,
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, I don't even know how much you've seen in the chat or whatever, but you know, I was losing my mind yesterday and today I just like time to shut up, time to back off and
So
let it be.
maybe this will help. So it then went on to identify the self-sabotage loop, which is one of the key functions that it started to build itself, and it nailed mine. It fucking nailed me to the wall. And some of the ones, just put myself out here because you're out here too. You build businesses or things that eventually feel like a prison of obligation. That's what I do. And I do it because I want to avoid fixing the things that are difficult to confront, difficult to fix, or that make me not relevant to that thing. Didn't like hearing that. They put it in quotes, you can always do it better syndrome. So basically, I'm afraid to delegate, truly give things to people, because at the end of the day, I always assume deep down egotistically that I'm going to do a better job. And I refuse to allow people to fail forward, which then stunts people that work in the organizations I start, which means I'm the glass ceiling. That's no good. That was very uncomfortable to hear because I look at myself as the opposite of that. But in reality, childhood ramifications of growing up in a, controlled environment. Yeah, Snowflake was there. He knows I was fucking shook. I was like shaken by this. It made me like reevaluate my entire life. Anyway, I'll go in the self-sabotage loop. Overcommit, delay relief, postpone freedom, repeat. Says you overstay obligations, so you stay needed. You don't delegate, so you stay overwhelmed. You delay freedom, so you never have to ask what happens if you actually get it.
Yeah.
Blows my mind.
Yeah.
I just couldn't believe it kicked me in the nuts like that. But I have a feeling yours would be somewhat similar. But yeah, I'm just excited to finally but I'm glad that everyone gets to see just like a taste, because I know there's probably some speculation, like, is it real? What even is it? Blah, blah, blah. It's like I just wanted to give kind of a little bit of a taste.
Very cool.
And you're right, the corporate utilization is going to be great. You want to know why? Here's the beauty of it. We then sell it to these corporations. Their HR department will demand it at a certain point. And then not only are you selling the licenses to it, but then you turn around and you're basically then also selling back a sentiment score so that they can get a real-time anonymized vision, 4D vision of what their personnel actually think about them and the company. And wow. There we go. Now we're talking. You could improve efficiency. You could do this is $1 billion deal. So I'm glad that we actually do get to demonstrate this, because this has been in my mind for it's like bursting at the seams. I've done a lot of cool shit. I'm proud of myself for what I've done. I've never made something like this that's a straight up, like, with a B, that's billions. And this is it. And we're going to basically say fuck the world, and we're going to give it away for free. And it's going to be
there
a blast.
You go.
Monetize
Beautiful.
It with corporations. But thank you. Yeah, I support what he said for stepping up and chadding this out, dude.
All right, man.
Thank you, sir. All right. I'll see you later, my friend.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
See ya.